Yep.
Yeah, we are back once again. Welcome to the future of broadcasting. We are the Wash Gods.
Wash never washed up. I am Sean Luke Picard.
And I'm drafting.
Warren is in the building. Shout out 404 Creators.
Shout out to the 404 Creators, man. I'm not going to say it feels good to be back, man. Because if I hear myself say that shit one more time, I'm going to blow my goddamn brains out. But
it feels good to be somewhere. I don't know if it's here.
I don't even know necessarily how I'm feeling, but I'm feeling things, man. So, we're here, man. It's so hard not to say that we're back, because we are. But,
almost like we never left.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
That's another one. Yeah,
man. Per usual, we are the Wash Gods.
How we start this shit? Well, I'm trying to countries.
I don't know if we did. Well, yeah, I guess this is a week pod. Yeah, we're doing so many pods now. I forget the programming. We start with the countries.
Let's do that. Shout out to these United States as usual, man. United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Iceland, UK. Germany.
#1 black podcast in Iceland. Still coming to see you soon. Germany.
Ireland, Russia, India, Brazil.
Shout out Brazil.
France, Norway, New Zealand, Finland.
Shout out all my Kiwis.
Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Romania, Ecuador, Spain, Denmark, the Netherlands, Sweden, Singapore.
Shout out Singapore.
Slovakia, Italy, Qatar, Turkey. I feel like this shit keeps getting longer. But Hong Kong, Japan, Mexico.
What she said.
Yeah, pause. South Korea and Saudi Arabia. So
shout out all my Saudis.
Yeah. Okay, but man, shout out to everybody, man. We're back once again. Well, I guess I said it. Well, God damn it.
No. To be specific, you said it feels good to be back. Back once again still falls in the qualifications of I'm not being as specific on my emotions.
Yeah. So cool. I'll take that. Yeah, you're right. All right. So how was your week?
It's early in the week, so I don't really know yet. I've been trying to be productive on the stuff that I need to do on my own personal time, because now that I'm not necessarily employed right now, I'm just trying to take care of my own scheduling and structure. I had to take a drug test yesterday. Definitely finessed, but that being said,
don't tell them that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell them. Yeah, but it was interesting because I realized how shit like that work. Like there's always some sort of fail-safe in designs, or in systems, I feel like, for especially black people, but I'll say poor, people who need a certain type of occupation. And when you get into those places, they're gonna put as many roadblocks in order to make sure that not everybody gets those jobs, and that's understandable. But I still stand on, on the heels of the Sha'Carri Richardson controversy with the Olympics. I stand on the fact that marijuana necessarily shouldn't be tested for in all jobs. It's not necessary for me to not smoke weed when I unload and load a truck. I don't think that's I don't think it's gonna hinder me from doing my job. But
that's a lot of the reason why I always end up applying to hippie ass companies and shit. So I know them motherfuckers ain't drug testing. Everybody in this bitch smoke.
But it was it just put me in the mindset of, damn, look at all we go through just to work for somebody. I would never. I was sitting there because I tried to drink a lot of water before I went in there. Had a Red Bull because it was kind of early and I knew I was gonna be sitting in there for a minute. And part of me's thinking to myself, yo, just let me piss, man. I don't even give a fuck if I get a job. If I come up hot, that's fine, bro. I'm not gonna go to jail. I'm just not gonna be working for y'all. And at this point, I'm not working for y'all yet anyway, so it doesn't put me in any different position than I am now.
I remember one time, I took a drug test. Somebody gave me some fake piss and shit, but I used it, and it was just not enough to hit the little line they tell you to piss to and shit. So I just ran out that bitch. Never came back. like I was gonna get arrested. I don't know. I just thought about that when you said that. Like, you know, when I left that bitch, like the feds was outside.
Yeah, I've had that moment. I had that moment before where
like, oh shit, nigga, they might get me.
I think I told this story. I never told it on the pod, but I think I told this story to like you, like the day it happened. Matter of fact, I was applying for another job where they had me taking a piss test, and I had fake pee, and for some reason when I got in there, of course you can't. You use the fake pee, but you gotta pee in the toilet for real. But for some reason, I couldn't piss. So I sat there with the fake urine, cooling off by the second. Like, yo, I can't go right now. It's like, well, you got as much time as you need, but you know what I'm saying? Just let us know when you gotta go. So I'm sitting there, I try to go. And of course, there's other people going in and out because they're getting drug tested too. So I gotta wait on them. And I'm panicking because I'm like, man, this pee gonna be cold. Well, I finally go to the bathroom. Like, I fill up the little cup. I walk out. It's just that temp. I think I'm like 97.8 or some shit like that. And the lady look at the piss. She look at me. It's like, all right, go sit back in the lobby. So for this job, I was driving the truck. And they're like, all right, wait in the lobby. We're going to do your DOT test in a minute. I'm like, all right. So that's Department of Transportation. I'm like, okay. Well, now it's just me picking up a box, 50 pounds, sit down. Like, they ask me if I got any like injury history or illness, or history of injury or history of illness, and we gonna keep moving. So I wait, thinking to myself, like, all right, the worst part is over. I get back there for the DOT test, and she hand me another cup. And she's like, all right, go fill this up and come back. Like, what the fuck? So I'm in the bathroom calling my partner. I'm like, bro, they piss testing me again. He's like, why? And he's like, I'm like, yo, I don't know, bro, but I'm out of piss. I'm pissed off and I'm pissed out, bro. So, of course, I'm like, fuck, now I gotta pee. So I pee in it, and I'm looking at the piss. I'm like, bro, I know you're dirty, bro. I know you're dirty. We gotta think of something. So, dip a little bit in the toilet, get a little water in it, screw it on, give it to the nurse, and she take it, she pick it up, she put the little thing on it, she look at it, and she's like, sir, this test is not valid.
Too much water.
I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's not up to temp. Like, this water. Did you already take your drug test? I'm like, yeah. She's like, sir, this is just a test if you got diabetes. Like, I'm like, oh. All right. You want me to do it again? So she's like, yes. Can you give us another sample? I'm like, yeah, give me like 15 minutes and a bottle of water. So it's like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like, all this stress I was under in order to take a drug test, like I promised myself, thinking about that, going in there this time, I was like, yeah, I can't give a fuck. Like, if the job works out in my favor, and of course I don't work for that job anymore. And it was one of those jobs where it's like, yo, all you gotta do is get past this part of the process, and you're in there, bro. Benefits, money, no free time, don't see your family, overworked, underpaid, stressed out. I'm gonna yell at you about stupid shit. I'm gonna call you on your off day drunk and tell you what you need to do when you get back in. Like, it's like, yo, what the fuck am I doing this for? So,
shit.
like, in there thinking, literally, another day in paradise. All that shit that you say to somebody who doesn't want to be at their job. But I'm sitting there thinking about all this shit because that's the last time I took a drug test. It was just like, it was an overwhelming feeling of, I was just lethargic. I didn't feel like doing anything. And as soon as I got out of there, I came over here and started working on like my own shit. Started putting together topics for the pod and trying to be productive on the other end of my work life, I feel like. Because at this point, like, all this shit feel like work. That's another thing I realized this week. Like, everything feel like work. It's just what gives you a little bit more than like satisfaction than your secular job, your 9 to 5. And now that I don't necessarily have that, and I'm supplying my own ideas and tasks for my own schedule. Like, it just feels like, all right, how do I frame this so it gets accomplished in an efficient and timely manner? But yeah, man, so far the week's been cool. Just trying to vent. I tripped Saturday, which was kind of interesting. I did a lot more than I usually do, and I had the closest thing I feel like to like a severe ego death as I've had since like the first time I tripped, or like one of the first times I really took. This time it was just LSD, but I've been trying to find DMT, and this kind of made me want to slow walk it again. I say it like that because they talk about DMT being really, really intense, but only being like 15 to 10 minutes. Like this was really intense, and it was like hours. Like I was at a point where like certain times in the night, I thought I died like twice, and I was just walking around. I'm dog sitting, and one of the dogs really doesn't like me, so it was like at a point where I'm walking around the house and the dogs are just staring at me, like I thought I was having a heart attack. Cause you know how animals, like they say animals act funny. Like you ever seen the old Rescue 911? It was like, yeah, the dog saved me. Yeah. Like I thought it was one of those. Like, yo, this nigga's dying. The dogs would not leave me alone, bro. So I had to lock myself in a room. I was just kind of sitting there until the feeling subsided. And when I walked out, the dogs had gone somewhere else, and they were really, really quiet. And it may have been about, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I walked outside. And, of course, the dogs come outside, and it was really, really still. And you know how the east side is. You start hearing gunshots. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, it wouldn't be hard to hide the fact that we lived in, like, a police state, like, or in, like, a confined society. Like, if there was really a war going on and they just wanted everybody to stay in their house, like, it'd be feasible just because we've already done that. We've already seen what happened. And I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, what if somebody dropped the bomb and they just didn't say anything? Like, if they dropped the bomb on the United States and nobody said shit. It was just like, well, it's already over with. It's no point in putting people in a position to panic, like, because we're going to have more problems. Just let the shit fall. And, of course, that sent me on a spin. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, bro. Like, I'm just sitting here, like, not alive, but not dead. Like, like I know, like if that's true, like I know I'm gone. Like, and for some reason it took this other weird tangent where I'm just thinking about like my personal life and who I'd call, and I was like, yo, I'll talk to everybody I needed to. I'm not calling nobody, bro. Like we at where we at with it. There's nothing I can do. So like those moments, I
stopped taking acid.
Those moments, yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's certain moments where I have those feelings in real life. I'm just like, I won't even say suicidal. It's just like, because it wasn't suicidal. Like I see how people can do a lot of psychedelics and have a psychological break. Like I think I had one, so to speak. Like I felt like I was living in the Truman Show for a minute. Like where I saw like the set sort of crack, so to speak. Like I looked and somebody was like, oh shit, nigga. He found out. But I thought about it from the standpoint of like, there is a certain sense of clarity that comes with like knowing that all this shit could be over and still having to get up and figure out where to begin. Like, cause I feel like it was, I usually trip a lot or take high doses when there's a transitionary phase. And this was kind of like my transition, like me working at the restaurant, not working at the restaurant, getting back into a job that's strictly about my financial and my financial situation as opposed to it being a career or something fulfilling that I enjoy doing. And I wanted a certain sort of perspective because all this shit could be over with. Like working at the other job where I had to take a drug test and I was driving, like I thought it would be beneficial for the time because of the money it provided. And it was, especially considering that if I was working in a restaurant during the pandemic, I would not have the same type of money I did then. It afforded me the proximity to be here to start the pod. And also like the outlet that I forced because I had less time and less freedom to do other shit like music, things of that nature. There's always sort of a, Taji sent me a song by the Smashing Pumpkins, like, yo, the beginning comes at the end or some shit like that. I can't remember it, but I remember hearing it a long time ago on VH1 and thinking to myself like, damn, I was listening to this song as a child and never really understood the perspective on certain things. And I think that's kind of like me surmising how I feel in life. Like every time there's an end to one thing, like I have to figure out how to either maintain the things I already have going without them coming to an end as well, or start something new. And I think like I'm trying to open myself up to the idea that all these things are finite and I can do whatever I need to do in that space. It's just being open to the idea of like, all right, like we've been here before, some things have come to an end and now we're starting something new. But yeah, that's pretty much been my week. I ain't really done shit else.
Well, shit. That's what's up. I guess as far as my shit goes, shit's been cool, man. I feel fucking overworked a little bit, but I feel like I'm always doing something, which is a good thing, I guess. But other than that, speaking of work, I guess I'm gonna go to this job interview tomorrow. Not really that excited, but just one of those things. Just back in the management type position. I feel like I gotta change my approach when it comes to people, and you know, to be less annoyed by people. It's gonna be a big challenge. So I don't even know if it's gonna work out. But I always end up in retail because it's just so easy to do. But it's like, man, it is actually like a mental feat to like deal with so many people's emotions on a daily basis.
Man.
And I'm really not. It's even not that I wouldn't even say that I'm not good at it, but I would just say that I don't enjoy it. And sometimes it's like, once I realize I just hate something so much, I just purposely be not good at shit. So it's just like, I'm
like, yo, you don't want to fuck with me? Like, that's fine. I'm gonna stop fucking with you.
I know I could play the game, but eventually I just get to the point where I hit that wall. It's like, you know what? I don't even care to be good at this shit. So, you know, here we go, man. It kind of sucks. We'll see, though. I don't even want to I don't want to jump out there and put all the negative juju on the shit. But other than that, yeah, what the fuck else have I been doing? Yeah, man, like you said, doing them extra pods a week. We did some music last night, which is always cool.
Yeah, shout out Jay Hayes.
Shout out to Stealth. Got some shit coming
Shout out
with
Stealth.
him. Yeah, just, you know, trying to stay productive on the creative side is a fucking challenge, man. Sometimes it does a little bit. It feels, I wouldn't say draining like work, but definitely takes something out of you. Takes a bite out of crime and shit.
Yeah, I think it's more the thing about personal endeavors is like, yo, you feel accomplished when everything goes well and you took out your time in order to do something for self. But if it don't go well, nigga, it's just as depressing as having a bad day at work. Like if shit don't work out in your favor, or you go out on a limb and the end result isn't necessarily what you expected it to be. Like, or you got to postpone it.
Between both of the pods and making music and, you know, mixing these shits and, you know, doing all the shit.
Yeah.
The thing about it, the positive thing is you're doing so much shit that you don't really get a chance to really sit into each work specifically because you're like always kind of on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative thing is like, you don't get to sit into. Like now I feel like, you know, when we were doing like just one pod a week or just making music, shit, we would like maybe record it just, when we were just making music, I mean, we might record like 2 or 3 songs. Shit, I'd sit back and listen to them shits for like, you know, the rest of the day. Because that's all we kind of did that day. But now it's like, shit, we just did 2 songs over here, just dropped the podcast, just recorded another one and shit. So it's just like
edit, do the write up, sit down and try to figure out what you need to do as far as scheduling for everybody else. Like
think about the, you know, the next pod, like topics of shit. Like you're trying to stay current. Then, you know, just personal entertainment. Because, you know, that's the funny thing about doing this pod is a lot of the shit is tied into what I'm doing anyway. It's not like I wouldn't keep up with certain news stories, but trying to be a little bit
proactive in figuring out what content you're absorbing.
Yeah,
like
and just like seeing the story. You know, a lot of times I would see the stories before, but I wouldn't go back and read the, you know, the article written up about them. I just like, oh, okay, news.
It turns Twitter and your news feed into like like crops, and like you start trying to figure out like what's good produce.
Yeah,
you just start gleaning, start pulling for everything, and I think that's good to a certain extent because it keeps me current on things I feel like I should know, and I do read more news now in passing than I did before, but it's still just one of those things where it's like, man, like I just want everything in here to stop for a minute, and I think that was part of the reason why, again, like tripping works for me, like because number one, I can't afford vacations or a therapist. And I'm at a point now where
that kids do drugs instead of going to therapy.
I mean, adults. Like I'm not kidding. Kids try therapy as long as you're on your parents' insurance. Like
no, do drugs.
But they gonna prescribe you drugs anyway. So if you get to a point where them drugs don't work, I mean, it's nothing wrong. Never mind. But that being said, like yeah, there is a certain kind of like fatigue, a mental fatigue that comes with trying to absorb so much information, even when it's entertainment, like, and let alone the news, because that shit has an emotional effect on you when you read some shit you may not necessarily like.
I forget the Joe Rogan guy that's always talking about the inner bitch and shit, but
David Goggins,
yeah, but yeah, I do feel like I am sort of fighting the inner bitch in me every time when I'm getting up and I really don't feel like fucking with whatever I'm doing at the time. It's like, man, I do feel like the more I work that muscle of like doing shit when I don't necessarily feel like it, it'll get easier and easier over time. So I do. It's like in that little middle stage. You're like, all right, man. Some of this shit I don't want to necessarily get up for, but at the same time, when I look back at the rewards, which is completed work, it's fulfilling. So. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man. I think I guess this week's is just fighting that inner bitch, man. That's been my challenge this week. So shout out to Zaila.
Are we okay? So
Wash moment. My bad.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. We definitely doing that.
Right.
I can do my wash moment right quick. My shit is simple. Like we were talking about that post last night where it was just like, yo, $100 been acting a lot like $10 and ain't nobody talking about it. Because I was in the grocery store the other day and I'm just, you just getting food and shit. I'm like, man, when this shit becomes so fucking expensive?
Nigga, that shit is crazy, damn. Boy.
And I remember hearing my parents say shit like that. I'm like, man, it's just food, man, nigga. You don't really think,
shit,
yeah. I'm looking at this shit like, god damn, nigga, what? Shit, nigga.
That's part of the ignorance of youth, like not knowing how much shit costs and how much it costs in order to like keep shit stocked. Like I think I learned that in real time at a different level working at the restaurant because I see how quickly shit disappears, and then we have a conversation about how much it costs in order to restock. And it's like, man, nigga, fuck, y'all spend this every week on shit. Yeah, and when prices do fluctuate or you switch a supplier for produce or meat or whatever it is, nigga, that price affects everything else. Like your prices may have to go up at the restaurant because you got to switch like who processes your produce or meat, or the extra steps that you go through in order to do something in the restaurant may take more time. So it's like, yo, y'all got to pay more because our overhead got to be maintained at a certain level. So
I heard I think I was watching some news story and they were talking about how like a lot of stores are trying to stock up right now because I guess the price of meat's about to go up and shit. I'm just like, this is just a wash moment because I was just like, man, I probably saw those stories as a kid, but I just never really paid attention to them. When I saw it on the news, I was like, oh shit, nigga, I gotta get to the store. Price of meat about to go up, nigga. But yeah, man, that's it, man. It's expensive to eat.
Yeah, I think my wash moment is I went through a phase where I just wasn't really feeling well, and it happened after I went on vacation with my daughter. We went to the beach and we cooked the whole time. But of course, this was all my friends from the restaurant, so we ate. Like we didn't have to go to no restaurant in order to get or any bar or anything to get food or alcohol. Like we were just in the crib going at it, and I'm talking about 3 square meals a day. Like dinner, crazy. Lunch, crazy. Breakfast, craziest, because we had all the leftovers. And when I got back, I felt terrible. Like, I felt terrible. But
one per episode.
Yeah, gotta keep one in the tuck. But I got back and I detoxed, and I felt a little bit better. Speaking of spending money, I went to the store one of those days and I was like, yeah, I gotta stock up on vitamins. I got like probiotics. I got vitamin D. I started getting I got a what is this? It's about kombucha, about this size, 700 milliliters at least. Got big ass kombucha. And eventually I started to level back out, but you know what I mean, especially when you quit a job, like finances get tight and you don't necessarily want to grocery shop and cook. Like, so I'll just grab fast food somewhere, a lot of Chick-fil-A days, and like now I start feeling shitty again. And at one point I was specifically like really, really uncomfortable. And I was like, man, I probably should go to the doctor, bro. And I was like, nah, I'm just gonna wait it out because I'm hard headed. And I just started drinking a lot of water. I just stopped eating like trash food, drank a lot of water, and eventually farted. And I've realized that I'm at an age where like a lot of my life threatening, like what I think are life threatening,
It's just gas.
Yeah, it's just gas, bro. It's like I could either be in a position where I think I'm having a heart attack, or I could burp.
I feel like that's like every 90s sitcom. They always had that episode.
It's like,
yeah. They have a heart attack and then they get to the hospital and like the dude's like the doctor tells them it's just gas and shit, and everybody just looks at him.
Nope.
Doom.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened to me. Like,
I know for sure it's a Fresh Prince episode. But yeah. I guess that's where it comes from.
Like, damn, niggas didn't prepare me for this, but I guess they did. It was an episode of Fresh Prince that I missed. But yeah, man, all of my life-threatening, like, or all the things that I think are, like, life-threatening illnesses could be, like, summed up as gas if I give it enough time.
Yeah. All that old shit is real because, you know, if I eat fast food, I mean, like, or just fried food, like a few days in a row, it's like I can definitely feel it. Like, so, like, I got to stretch that shit out. Like, I'm like, well, this is my one, like, little shitty day where I can eat like shit. But because, I mean, you know, that shit wear down on you, man. Like, you had no energy, and like you said, your stomach be doing things.
Yeah, when I got back to the restaurant, I stopped eating there. Like, I wouldn't eat their food. Not necessarily because there was anything wrong with it, but like with diet, like variety, variety is a thing. And I think that at least for me, and if I'm going to do the same thing over and over again, it needs to be sort of a restructuring or rebuilding of my diet. Like, I would get to work and just do like juice shots and then probably like a smoothie, and that would last me the day. I may cook food or get food and take it home, but even then I was still at the market. I was still doing no meat for a while, like maybe like 2 weeks I was just no meat. And yeah, man, I think I'm at that stage where like I remember being in my parents' house and then seeing them go from like, oh yeah, we're eating burgers or stupid 90s shit like Hamburger Helper or Sloppy Joe, and then it was like, nah, twigs and berries. Like, if it ain't grain brand, like they went through the whole Atkins phase. Like, now I see that same type of energy with people who are trying to eat clean, doing meal prep, you going keto. Like, I see how the age groups are sort of changing the way they eat and how they move in a certain like space when it comes down to diet. Everybody comes to the restaurant and asks stupid questions that they don't know the answer to. Like, yo, has this got gluten in it? And you just want to ask, yo, what's gluten? Do you know what gluten is? Gluten wouldn't be in that. Okay.
Yeah. They always say that people just like, most of the people that think they need to be gluten free, that shit's not even. It's all bullshit. But yeah, it's funny that as we get older, like everybody's something. It's like, what are you, vegan? Like you said, you keto, you some shit. You got some kind of
Episcopalian.
Yeah.
I remember I'm having a conversation with this girl, and I'm talking to her brother, and I was saying like how I wanted to stop eating meat. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm what you call that? Presbyterian. I was like, you mean pescatarian? He's like, oh yeah, that's what it is. I was like, yeah. Yeah, bro. That's funny though. That's hilarious. I didn't want to laugh at him because he was dead ass. Yeah, pescatarian.
Yeah. That goes to speak to like that. I guess just the culture is now everybody like names themselves something. Like everybody has a title for this shit. Man.
I think it's more so cities like Atlanta or like those cities where it's accessible. Somebody gives you a small like iota information, and then you just take it and run. It's like, this is what I am, because ain't nobody else around here that. And you run into a bunch of people who have that same mindset, and they just team up and do dumb shit together and say dumb shit together.
I remember talking to a chick years ago, and she was just like, she was a vegan and shit, and she was just like, yeah, man. I don't even know if I guess we're not even talking, just like hanging out or whatever you want to call it. But she was just like, yeah, man, I never kiss a man that eats meat and shit. I'm just like, man. I remember not gonna say it on the pod, but
Would you suck his dick? Would you?
Like, what kind of propaganda bullshit is this? But
never kiss a man that eats meat.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I guess we'll get into Zaila Avant-Garde.
Zaila Avant-Garde.
What's up?
I'm running. I have to check because it keeps giving me.
We'll do it when we come back.
Yeah.
All right.
So
On
we'll
that
take a
note, we'll
break.
be right back.
Yep.
As promised, we
We
are
back.
back. Yeah.
Wash never washed up. Wash gods.
Yeah. Episode 71. We didn't even say that. Yeah. 71, right?
70.
70?
69 was taken 70.
71.
71.
Ricky Blue.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, sorry I didn't have a player for y'all, but I'm a player. I'm player.
We players. We playing. Just the way players play.
Shout out Zaila.
Zaila.
Shout out Zaila Avant-Garde.
Zala.
Zala. I don't know how to say her name, but anyway,
Shout out to
her,
ZAG.
man. She's
Yeah.
Zach. Yeah, she's
Don't
Zach.
zig when you should have zagged.
She's impressive, man. She kind of
That's funny just because of the conversation we had before the pod. I'm not going to put you on Front Street, but yeah.
the clips have been going viral all week about
All right, bro. Is she cool, bro?
I don't know
For
what
a 12-year-old.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah. But the clips have been going viral all week. Her doing like a lot of like interesting drills, basketball drills. Apparently, she's been dominating the whatever eight. I don't even know what.
She's in 6th grade.
6th grade.
she's
So I
like
guess
12
middle
years
school.
old.
So I guess she's in middle school right now.
Elementary, middle. Like,
Yeah. So she's already been offered a scholarship to LSU, a full ride. Anybody
she's
gets a
from-
chance.
She's from that area. She's from Harvey, Louisiana, which I thought was interesting. Because a lot of those places that have been affected by either natural disasters or just have been like impoverished areas claim that they don't have the same type of advantage educationally. And I think there was a uptick in like supplies, especially because, you know what I mean, since Katrina, the infrastructure was fucked up for a long time. So they got new shit. In my mind, especially because I have a child that's in school, I think about the advantage that you give your child just by giving them like a proper education system and how it opens up for like other attributes that they may have. Like they may be able to get involved in certain activities, sports, whether they be academic or athletic. But yeah, it was encouraging to see it just because for me personally, like I saw her win the spelling bee, being the first black girl to win ever. And the way she did it was kind of swaggy. Like they gave her the word and she kind of cracked a joke and then spelled it out. The confetti and balloons all fell. And then the next clip is like her on a unicycle juggling like 3 basketballs. I'm like, yo, what? Is she an Avenger? Like, what is she? What is she, bro? Yeah. And then the next clip after that is her working on basketball drills, and she's a bucket. Like for a 6th grader to run through drills in the way she was running through them, like you could tell that she was one of those kids who probably was like dribbling the ball when she was like 3. And I don't know. Like before, when I used to be really, really like, I don't know what you call it, like unenthused about like kids in sports. As soon as I had a daughter, I was like, yo, these motherfuckers is really learning how to do shit fast. Like this is stuff I couldn't have done at 6 or in 6th grade or at whatever age I'm watching these kids like play organized basketball or like soccer or spell. like we was looking up definitions in 6th grade and I didn't know how to spell those without the dictionary. And now it's like, yo, we don't have dictionaries anymore. And not only is she a spelling bee champion, but she also a world-renowned hooper at this point. So yeah, shout out to Zach.
Interesting to see people like that, like the whole. I guess this really could have been a wash moment, but Like you're starting to see like, I guess the equivalent would be like my dad giving me stories about like Pistol Pete and shit like that, and you know that shit. You see somebody like
Who
that
also
that
played
pops.
for LSU.
Oh yeah, and she also had him on our Instagram, which is crazy. Like pictures of Pistol Pete, which I thought was really insane. But
Probably because he's from Louisiana. But that's dope.
yeah. But just the age gap is so crazy. Somebody to be interested in somebody like that is like, you know, shit. I don't even know if a lot of people our age really know, you know what I mean, or really know that much about Pistol
Right.
Pete. But anyway, you start to see the whole next wave of skill sets coming in slowly, like in the same thing we saw with like Steph Curry and shit. Like when he stepped on the scene, like ain't nobody winning the championship with 3-pointers, and now you see how that shit is bleeding down into the next generation. Now shit, you see little kids shooting from half court and shit, doing all this fucking crazy shit. Like even Trey Young to Steph is like that little age gap. You start to see how those skills trickle down, and then it's like a Trey Young to her. So like by the time she gets to that age, who knows what kind of shit they're gonna be doing? Because like these skills, like you said, you're starting to see kids just like take big leaps in like everything, man. I think I just saw like it was like a young teenager that came up with a device that got rid of all mosquitoes and shit in a room. It's just like this motherfucker's a teenager doing that, and like the guy that came up with the device that
Cleans up the ocean.
yeah, cleans up the ocean.
Yeah, he was like 19.
19, like he was. So it's just like you're starting to see the advancements in all fucking avenues.
The quickest, well, I will say like evolution does take a long time, but I see it, obviously, but I see it a lot in thinking now, like especially with young people, even in younger ages, a lot faster. The way we process information, I feel like because we're old, we're so stuck in our ways, especially with basketball. Like the transition in basketball brought it to mind. It's like, yo, but all ideas are built on the shoulders of other ideas. So, like, I don't necessarily think that like we're gonna take leaps and bounds as far as like sports is concerned. Like the games are still gonna necessarily be the same, but like how they're played is really interesting to see how it's evolved and who it's evolved for. Because even at a younger level, like she a point guard, I think, and like all of her drills are really focused on her shooting long range jumpers. And I'm looking like, oh, well, at 6th grade they was telling us get in the paint, like get in the paint. You want like short range jumpers, shit like that. Like nah, the game is completely dictated by what's happening on a pro level, and those players the players who decide to coach the youth, now they play like them, which is beautiful to see a lot, especially with a child like that who is not only really smart but really proficient athletically.
It makes me think about like Odell in a certain sense. Like shit, a one hand catch would be just kind of like a thing, but now you see like now that's
Also at LSU.
Yeah,
player.
crazy, yeah. Shit, then now you see him just only practicing one hand catches. Like that wasn't a thing when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah, I saw a
You know
nigga-
what I'm saying? Like
A nigga on the internet like practicing a catch and release jump shot, like that he catch the shot off the pass, almost like tips, and would catch it and just shoot and
midair.
release at the same time. I was like, yo, to
like
practice
last
that,
second situations.
yeah,
man.
to practice that way was something that I mean I don't know what level he was at, but to practice that way is like a different level of game because I can't ever imagine practicing that on my own.
Or James Harden
Doing a 1 foot jump shot.
Yeah, doing that 1 foot jump shot in the off season last year, like shit like that. But yeah, you just start to see all the advancements, man. So by the time it's gonna be interesting when she's grown, like what the fuck are the kids gonna be doing? Who's gonna be the next prodigy that we see online, like doing
They're
some
gonna put
crazy
trampolines
shit?
in the court.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make the court bigger at this point. I feel like people are really pulling up from half court.
They
Like
gonna
this
have
shit's
to tackle.
insane. Like I'm seeing kids pull up from fucking NBA range. Like this is insane to me. But shout out to her, man. I guess we get into this NYPD thing.
Yeah, the NYPD is reforming its use of DNA as far as crimes are concerned because apparently there's been some controversy about the way they store DNA for people who may not even necessarily be suspects in certain cases. And I think Taji sent me the story. I couldn't read it on New York Times, so the specific information in which like the topic came to us is kind of lost. But it was an interesting debate. Like apparently there've been news stories and coverage of this topic for a few years, and I wondered about like how this is handled on like a national level, like how they handle DNA in other places. Like because I know if you get locked up, your fingerprints are stored for a number of years, and I don't even know how long that happens. Like they've got your fingerprints, and they can use you in whatever type of. They can implicate you in whatever type of crime, and just because your fingerprints are there, like you could be on the chopping block, or like your freedom could be at risk just because they have your DNA in the same place and they've had it, or they've had your fingerprint in the same place and had it for what may have been a warrant for tickets. But because you're in that same place, you may end up implicated into an investigation. And I think that it's like little shit where, like one of the stories they talked about, like they offered somebody who was detained a cigarette while he was in an interrogation room, smoked a cigarette, and once he left, a police officer came in there and confiscated the cigarette. And shit like that just seems illegal. Like I don't know, like as far as the law is concerned, I don't know how illegal. But for you to document my DNA without my consent just feels like an invasion of my civil rights.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just like another. I feel like it's just another part of like Patriot Act type shit. Like, you know, who knows how long this shit's been going on and how many people just have fell victim to this shit. Is like, which is another thing. Like, we always see all those cases where we use DNA evidence to like overturn cases, but what about all the shit that they just like frame niggas up on? Like shit too. Like it's kind of tricky. Yeah, man. I really don't have that much confidence in our judicial system to begin with. So like when I see stories like this, it's not really that surprising. I mean, I guess they're trying to put in laws in place to get rid of all this shit, but think about all the people that's got fucked over. Like, I don't know. And that's the thing too. Like, the argument could be made that, so this one side of it is going to be like, well, shit, nigga, keep your shit out, stay out the system and shit. You know, that's always going to be, I mean, I guess the right side, what is the right's called? Conservative. Yeah, conservative side of things. But it's like, there are people that are guilty, but they got placed in jail on bullshit ways of finding them guilty, and I don't know where I stand with that.
Yeah, because I've heard people say shit like I've done a lot of shit, but this is something I didn't do.
Yeah.
Like so according to our legal system, the way the law works is like,
because I don't even know if I would call the law necessarily fair. You know what I mean? Like, it has a way that it works and it functions, but it doesn't necessarily
fall in line with everybody's benefit.
Yeah,
and I think
it's
that
not always going to have the guilty and not guilty be on the right side of things.
Because like I was to say, our law is designed for people to be innocent until proven guilty, but depending on where you live, like what your past is and what mistakes you've made and what you get called in for, or what you get caught for, or accused of, you guilty until proven innocent. Like, you could look like unless you're a police officer, and then they lean completely the opposite way, and it's like you got to find 10,000 reasons why this nigga's guilty when it should just be a open and shut case, you know? Right. So, I don't know, man. I still just think our judicial system as a whole is just kind of fucked. Like, this is just like a microcosm of the whole system being like, it can always be pushed to, it's going to push to one side where it fucking shits on the poor, and then when you can still use those same laws to benefit the rich. That's why it's so tricky. It's hard to be on any side of that shit for me. Yeah. Be safe, man. Stay out the way.
Oh, yeah. Stay out of New York. I think that's the main lesson from this.
Yeah. And anyway. And also know the laws in your state.
Yeah, for sure.
That'll be something that, like, this is me preaching to the choir, but like, we all should, as being black, especially black men, you all should somewhat be aware of the things that can happen when you're in custody. Like make sure that
I'm
you don't take
that
nothing
the
from
law
the police.
never works in my favor.
Don't take nothing from them motherfuckers.
Yeah,
don't sign nothing. Say as little as possible.
Yeah, that's all you can do is enter that shit knowing that any way that it could be used against you will, you know, as they say. But anyway, shout out Haiti. Hold your head, Haiti. It's getting fucking crazy over there. The president was assassinated a few days ago, maybe last week.
Yeah, I think I talked about it on another pod where I was saying, like, the last time this happened, I remember talking to somebody who was from Haiti before the president was assassinated, and it was like, yeah, it got real. The whole reason I'm here is because we knew there was going to be civil unrest, and here we are yet again. And I don't know.
And now the stories are coming out that the person that they arrested has ties to the CIA or FBI. They are actually FBI.
American-based.
I mean, some would say this is anytime you see a foreign leader usually assassinated, America usually has something to do with it. But as soon as I saw the story, that's all I thought. But yeah, man. I don't want to get into what our government does overseas, man, but they do a lot of shit that I necessarily wouldn't approve of, and it's kept off the record. And there's a lot of documentation to prove that. It's just not me being conspiracy brother, like, you know. So we have a history of doing that. I can't necessarily implicate the U.S. because I ain't got all the facts, but that has came out that two of the assassins have ties to the FBI. We're former FBI informants. So that definitely mucks up the shit, man. Haiti is always in constant like disarray. It feels like since I've been born, there's always some kind of unrest going on, civil unrest or fucking food crisis or earthquake. Man, black nations always have it the hardest. It feels like.
They said that a lot of the reason that happens is because white supremacy. Like
yeah, that's a documentary about it, about why they have such a food crisis anyway, because like about certain trade laws that are also tied to the U.S. that prevent them from getting like a lot of the goods that other countries get. So.
The U.S. won't allow them to trade with them internationally because of a debt that they owe to France when they revolted. And because of that, they don't necessarily get the aid or the help that they would need without these nonprofit organizations like the Red Cross. And the Red Cross directly benefits from aid from the U.S. government by getting these contracts to help natural disasters and things of that nature.
Yeah,
so it's kind of
really
like
fucked up when you get into that bag. You see all these like those organizations basically are they need countries to be poor to function. Like that's their whole business. So like if there's no poor countries, what the fuck are they gonna do?
And I shout out Anthony Bourdain. He did No Reservations in Haiti, and he was talking to some of the people who were there as his liaison committee, and he was saying like as much as I wanted to come here and document like my experiences and the people and the food, like I understand how like apprehensive the people here are about a white man coming down here with a camera and a news crew after a tragedy and documenting their pain and just leaving because nobody really helps. Like Haiti really hasn't changed. Like I remember them talking about one of the jobs that they had. Like there are people who actually shovel the shit in the streets. Like and it's looked at as the most. Like they're basically essential workers. Like it's looked at as the most demeaning job. Like if you got to do it, like something went wrong. But if nobody did it, like the issues that they'd have would be so much worse, just on a day-to-day basis. Like one of the reasons I think it's cholera that they're getting. Not cholera. Damn, what is it? But it's some disease that they get based on the fact that like there's so much human waste around. And it gets into drinking water, and these people get extremely sick, especially young children. It's not dysteria, bro. I can't. But it's basically something that could be helped if they just had like efficient plumbing and things that they can't get due to the situation they've been put in for basically gaining their own freedom. Like the shit that's happened in Haiti happens everywhere else. It's the same thing that the United States did with Great Britain, like, but because they're a black nation, they're penalized, and a lot of that is seen in these type of societies. Like you saw the same shit happen to Cuba, and like in the the 60s, and now we're seeing it happen again with Haiti. And we get
Cuba
glimpses of it.
Missile crisis.
Yeah. And the only thing that really was different between that situation is Cuba had a real dictator. Like they was with the shit. Like, Haiti ain't never had a chance to get back on their feet, and because they already got like a win under their belt, so to speak, like the idea of letting them get back in a position where they might be able to make decisions for themselves or defend themselves if necessary, like that shit's scary because like
And a lot of, they keep the country so poor, they never have access to a real military, so they can't even boss up and make real moves. So
So they fight amongst themselves, and like it's encouraged because it destabilizes somebody who could essentially do without. Like I remember seeing some quote about Cuba is like, they have a lot of rooftop gardens, and the transition was made during communism because people didn't necessarily have enough money to go to stores, because like with capitalism, you get enough money in order to buy a variety of different levels of the same thing. Like you can go to get bananas from the farmer's market, or you can get bananas from Whole Foods, and a lot of that's based off proximity, because you do better, you live in a nicer area, you get nicer food, or better food. With Haiti, it's like everybody gotta get food from the same place unless you're the elite. So people start doing for self, or excuse me, in Cuba, people started growing food on their roof. They have so much food, like that they grow themselves, that they don't necessarily need to like buy food that way. They have so much to buy food the same way we do, and not many people starve there based on like an insufficient amount of food. They may be poor and they may have to eat certain things, but they found a way around so many other things that communism basically told them they couldn't obtain, because everybody had to make the same amount of money. Like that they've to a certain extent solved problems that we still struggle with here in the United States, based off the fact that we have a capitalist economy. So it's just interesting to see how like people evolve their sense of thought when it comes down to like democracy and how it works in our favor, or what type of like government works best for people at large, because we all kind of see the cracks in the system, especially here in the United States, despite what we may claim is like the best country in the world. Like,
it's funny to see, like, growing up as a kid, it was always this, I forgot his name that quick. Cuba guy died. Fidel. There's all this Fidel Castro slander that you always hear as a kid, but then, as I get older and start to research Cuba and shit, it's like, man, the people didn't necessarily hate him. That's what they say. So, like, they taught us that he was hated and feared and shit, but it wasn't necessarily the story over there. So, because he did solve a lot of problems that they had. And he also reached out to a lot of black leaders, but that's another story. But you're working with the vac shit. You back here. Shout out Juvenile.
Getting that bag, boy.
Yeah. If I had any like worries about getting the vaccine before, I definitely have them now, man. Once they start like marketing black songs to strictly niggas, like doing little nigger jingles and shit, like I get
Ningles,
if you will. Ningles.
Name of the pod.
Yeah. It's like, what? Why, wait, man? Why you make sure we get this shit first, man? I don't see no country western song about this shit or nothing, man.
It's so many.
Where Taylor Swift at? Why the fuck she ain't drop shit?
It's so many like cross-branded like things in this one statement.
To introduce that shit,
it's for a black like dating app, and they're encouraging you to get vaccinated.
They use Juvenile. They enlisted Juvenile, the great Mia X, and Manny Fresh to do a Vax That Ass Up remix. Vax That Thing Up. I guess it's Vax That Thing Up.
Vax That Ass Up would have been hard. I might have fucked with it.
Yeah, Vax That Ass Up.
Vax That Ass Up. He had the goddamn. Yeah, bro. Vax that ass up, man. You let them push you too far to the right. You got too conservative, bro.
The most troublesome line in the song is, "You will find young brother once you vax that ass up," or vax that thing up. It's just like, yo, come on, Juvie, bro. I don't ever want to hear Juvie call niggas fine young brothers. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing against that community. I just, me personally, I don't want to hear Juvenile say it.
I got so many questions, bro. Like, and most of them I can't say in a public setting, in a setting like this. Like, I don't.
Mia X made an appearance, like I said earlier. It's good to see her, because the last time I saw her, it was on this like "Where Are They Now" type shit. So,
where was she?
I guess making this song. I guess Moderna or one of these companies had to drop the bag, man. I know they're definitely behind this shit. That's what's so scary about this shit. It's like, yeah, man. The niggas will love this. They go crazy when this shit goes on in the club. And they were right. Yeah, man, this feels like Gangbanging Part 2, bro. Shout out to Smokey Robinson and shit, man. It's the same type of vibe, bro. It's the same vibes. Like,
And I don't know.
they find these out-of-work artists, and they give them $20, $30, and they put them in the studio, and they make this bullshit and feed the dust.
Yeah, I don't know why it's one of those things where, like, it's important for people or, like, corporations to be like, yo, we got to cater to black people first. Like, I know why, but I don't know why. Like, I don't know what type of person falls for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You got doctors twerking with syringes and shit.
yeah, it just feel like it feels like a pander, bro. It feels like a pander, and I don't know how a person could explain to me it's not. Because it's some things that just it look like it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't want to necessarily be one of the people that's like, you shouldn't get vaccinated because I got vaccinated. But at the same time, like I had my own specific reasons, and I don't think this would be one of the ones that would sell it. Like it was giving away food. Yeah. I remember they saying like, you get a free Five Guys if you get vaccinated. I saw they was giving prisoners time off. If you get vaccinated, like it was somebody, I can't remember the article. I should have sent it to the group, but it was actually a video. This guy talking about like what he was charged with, and I feel like he had pled guilty. And the judge was like, "Yo, you can go to jail for 3 years, or you can go get vaccinated, and I give you 15 months probation." It's like what?
What the hell?
And he was like, part of me was just like, yo, I don't know if I really want to get vaccinated that bad. When you start telling a nigga you can get a shot and get 15 months probation, or you can go to jail for 3 years, and he thinking about these 3 years, like, I don't know, bro. Nigga, I feel like I should have had more questions. Like, we just gonna ride this thing out now.
Like anytime somebody tries to sell me something, I always take a step back. Like, I don't know, man. What you doing over there, man? Why you selling it to me? Let me buy it. Like, why you selling? The government's never given me like nutrition and shit like on purpose. Like, you know what I mean? So the fact that they're doing whole songs and jingles about it scares the shit out of me. Like, shout out to Juvenile for buying in and selling us all out. My nigga, my man. I guess we get into what we've been watching and listening to. How much time we got?
Oh, yeah, we good.
I mean, where we at?
26 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's perfect. All right, as far as what I've been listening to, shout out to the Knuckleheads. Oh, shit, they just dropped the episode today. God damn, I ain't listened to this shit yet, but that's what's up.
Got something to do today.
Yeah. I don't know if I talked about the Grandmama episode, but shout out to Larry Johnson. The episode was really dope. And Jamal Mashburn, Monster Mash. That episode was cool. And I just dropped an episode with Jamal Crawford. Like, he's one of my favorite players to watch. So, shout out to them. The Dollop. Let's see what I've been listening with that. This episode was really dope. Jack Johnson and the Great White Hope. Like, the whole story of Jack Johnson was a wild nigga, bruh.
Yeah, wild.
Bruh, he was wild. This motherfucker would invite reporters to like watch him bathe and shit. Like, he was a crazy nigga, bro. He was dating a white girl like in the 20s and shit.
And like, when he got a car and shit where he was speeding past the police, they tell that story.
Maybe,
he was speeding in a convertible, and the police pulled him over, and he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna write you a ticket." And he handed him like $200, and he was like, "All right, this is for this ticket. The other $100 is for the next ticket because I'm speeding on the way back too." like so rich, like he was it made him a wild nigga. Like it made him a wild.
He had
nigga.
hella businesses back in the day. Like he was really kind of like the first Muhammad Ali like type vibe, except the white bitches. But allegedly, yeah. I think I talked about this before, but if I haven't, the dark secret of American swimming pools. This shit is insane, yo.
Also the Dollop?
Yeah, the Dollop. Apparently, everybody up until like 1970 swam naked. Well, boys had to swim naked, yo. They like got pictures in like National Geographic. They said, yo, it's one part they show like where they're trying to encourage people, because the whole idea was that I guess the fabrics they had at the time, spandex was too expensive to make or something, so cotton would like clog up the pipes and shit, so they would encourage people to swim naked. So like, yeah, even like in high schools, like people had to swim naked. Shit's insane. Also, the first public swimming pools were really just for people to wash. Like, so everybody would gather like in town halls. Like, it'd be one big bath and shit. Crazy, bruh. And this is like not that long ago, bro. Like,
Yo, history is a funny motherfucker. They can hide some shit fast.
I'm like, what the
Y'all
fuck?
they hid so much.
They got a picture of like a little kid. It's like, yeah, this is Timmy. Like, he dude's butt ass naked. He's in the paper. His address is listed. It's like, yeah, he swims naked everywhere. Like, just like an ad, like for people to swim naked. It's like, yo, this is like a toolkit for child molesters. They got this motherfucker's address, it's dick size and shit in there.
All his likes.
Turn on to shit. Fucking like long walks in the park and shit. But yeah, that shit is crazy, bro. So yeah, I definitely encourage anybody to listen to that. Yeah, history is fucking nuts, bro.
Shout out to Dollop. Dollop,
yeah.
I've been listening to hella Dollops too, bro.
My brother just put me on this shit, NBA Storytime. It was really dope. They just dropped a new one today too. They got an episode about Wilt Chamberlain and his 20,000 lovers. It was pretty funny. And the game where Hakeem Olajuwon was supposed to play against Shaq. That was like a whole, and Taco Bell was sponsoring it. I forgot that shit even happened, bro. But
1-on-1?
Yep. As far as TV, I guess I watched the last episode of Loki. It was fine. I just started watching Rami. Rami is a really crazy fucking show, man. It's one of the craziest shows I've seen in a long time. It kind of centers itself all around like Muslim culture or whatever. So it's interesting. It's on Hulu. Yeah. It's the first time I've seen anybody delve in it that way, like, and still in a comedic manner too. But it's like half comedy, half drama. It's pretty cool. Mahershala's in it. He's got like a pretty big role. But yeah, I watched both seasons. It was really entertaining. Other than that, Black Widow. Black Widow just came out. Watched that. I ain't gonna give any spoilers and give y'all time to hate it like me. But yeah, man. Shout out to Scarlett, man. I just came for you too, and then you come with this bullshit, man. Maybe dude was right.
That's what you get.
Yeah, this shit was. But shout out to Marvel though. Like I saw that they did 250 mil. So like it's I guess the box office is back. So I think that's about it that I can think of.
All right. I watched Black Widow as well. I liked it, man. I'm not mad at it.
I like that shit.
It's not like I wasn't mad I saw it. Like it was something for me to do, and I wasn't really anticipating it either. Like when the expectations are low, the satisfaction is gonna be moderate.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
I'm sorry for you.
I didn't have much expectations, bro, but I just expected better, bro. I expected a little bit better. But anyway,
I watched Fantastic Planet for the first time. In its entirety. I've always tried to watch it like sober because everybody tells me it's such a great movie. Shout out Amber and Taji, they love the movie. And they were one of the few people that was telling me like, yeah, if you haven't seen it, see it. But I go through these phases where I try to like.
It's a weird ass movie.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. But when you watch it on 5 tabs, it all makes sense.
Oh, should be too weird for me. I'd lose my shit.
I think it's just life. Like the idea that I got from it is just life. Like. It puts humans in a different perspective. Like the way they talk about people is like they talk about dogs or pets or insects, and the way they treat them is a indicator that human society isn't that much different from what we would assume gods or aliens are. Like the idea that, like especially in the end when they describe what happens when people meditate, like or these things meditate, it becomes the concept for all the things that we describe as life now, and the cycle just kind of repeats itself. And yeah, man, it was a cool movie. I definitely enjoyed watching it. I doubt that I'll watch it again anytime soon, but I would suggest anybody who hasn't seen it to watch it. I watched a movie called what's the name of this fucking movie? Shame. Let me see who's in it. But it was another movie I watched at one point, one of my first times like experimenting with psychedelics, and I remember it having a profound effect on me because the first time I watched it on silent, and I understood it, and I was really drawn to the way that movies like that are shot, like to where the story kind of explains what's going on. Like almost another movie that reminded me of that was what was the name? No Country for Old Men. If you you've ever seen the movie, notice that the movie doesn't have any music. Like, there's no music in the entire movie until the very end. And when you watch other movies, it's a lot more pronounced because like music, especially in horror movies, it cues in like moments where something's supposed to happen. Or like in another movie where they did the kind of the same thing, but it did have music, was Hereditary. Like a lot of those areas in the movie where you're supposed to kind of like hear that cliche horror movie swell in the like the air or whatever, the air of that moment. Like there is none of that, and you'll see something move instead, or you'll hear like ambient sound, like something in the room move. And I enjoy movies that play on those type of aesthetics, whether it be sound, like the auditory experiences, as well as the visual experiences, in order to build a scene. But yeah, Michael Fassbender, Carey Mulligan, Nicole Berry, I think it is. I don't know the black woman that was in the movie. Bad as shit though.
Shout out to her.
But yeah, Carey Mulligan has been in some shit, and Michael Fassbender, of course, was in a bunch of shit. I can't remember the new shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know that name.
Shout out to all my Marvel niggas.
Is he the new one or the old one?
His new one.
New one, right? Yeah,
young man,
gotcha. Yeah, so I know that name. All right, cool.
But yeah, shame. I've watched a lot of Anthony Bourdain recently. No Reservations, the OG shit. I really miss Mike, man. I mean, Anthony. My bad.
I was like, what?
I was still on Michael Fassbender. I miss Anthony Bourdain. Like, that's gonna be funny in post. Who? But
So who's this random Mike character? Like, anyway, yeah.
But I miss Anthony Bourdain. Like, I feel like there aren't enough people like him necessarily anymore, and there are a lot of people out there who are trying to do the same thing. It just comes off a little corny. And I remember it was a point in time where I got really into it, like into No Reservations. And my mom and I always had a thing where we'd watch cooking shows, but she didn't like Anthony Bourdain because she was like, yeah, he just seemed like a jerk, like he's too opinionated. And I was like, yo, that's kind of why I like it. And now most cooking shows are more personality than actual like actual content. So this was like a renaissance in, like, I feel like entertainment as far as that type of demographic was concerned, but it was still kind of new, and you kind of saw everything turn a corner at that point, because not everybody has I'm gonna travel, eat, see behind the scenes type show. But yeah, a lot of No Reservations. I watched the Cho Show. Cho Show was very, very Michael Cho. It's fucking insane. I can't describe it to anybody who doesn't already know Michael Cho and the type of shit that he does. But the quote, "You can be crazy, just show me how you got there," like that kind of energy. He sat down with Asa Akira, the guy who does BoJack, Denzel Curry. Denzel Curry's story was really, really dope.
Oh, Rainn Wilson, the cat from The Office.
Yeah, Dwight.
Forehead guy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. A bunch of people that I feel like I could mirror in my own life. Like, it made me rethink having certain conversations with certain people just to gain a certain measure of clarity or perspective. And I think sometimes, like, you spend enough time around certain people, like, you get that. But sometimes people won't reveal things to you unless you downright ask them. And even then, like, it's up for grabs. So it was dope to see him sit down and kind of process his trauma along with other people, and then be brave enough to film it and open enough to allow people into the process that is healing. What have I been listening to? The Dollop. A lot of The Dollop. Bloody Williamson was a good episode. I went through a lot of those older episodes that I felt like were more abstract. I listened to the Clarence Thomas episode.
I'm scared.
Yeah, that was a hilarious one. The Coors Family. I listened to the Coors Family. That's a really interesting one. Which one? What else? Let's see. Oh, the Egg War. The Egg War was hilarious. Have you listened to the Egg War yet?
I'm add that to
Yeah, the Egg War is about.
I just seen the Egg War. Yeah.
It's about. It starts out about the gold rush, but then it becomes about the way they figured out how to feed everybody. Like, because at one point in time, I guess chickens were really plentiful, but like when you get a rush of people, and chicken population is affected, as we've seen, when the pandemic hit. But it was a lot of people, and they couldn't feed everybody. And I think they said like at one point in time, or during this point in time in history, because it was like the 1800s or some shit like that, 1900s, maybe 1800s, yeah. It was like the 1800s. Because the 49ers. But eggs were like a big part of the American diet. Like people ate a lot of eggs, and they had to supplement that with like seagull eggs and other type of birds' eggs. I can't remember the other bird that they were using. But they would have to go to this little island that was covered off the coast of San Francisco, this island that was covered in all these seafaring birds, and then just go collect eggs. And they talked about all the nuance that came with that. And then eventually, like when anytime there's like a market for some shit, they would bring them out eggs back to shore, and they would lose half the eggs in transport, and then they'd sell the rest. And all of those would be kind of iffy because you're just getting eggs off of this island.
Crazy.
But there ends up being a war between the people who live on the island, like for lighthouses and shit, and the people who come out there to get the eggs. And it's like a real war. These niggas really killing each other about these eggs.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It was crazy. It was like that and Bloody Williamson to just show you how flimsy like society is when it comes down to money or land. Like you start fucking with niggas' pockets or where they stay, nigga, all bets are off. They killing you about nothing. But yeah, a lot of the dollop. I think that's all I'm gonna go through for them. Black on Purpose.
Shout out Black on Purpose.
Yeah, shout out Shogun.
They just dropped the episode today. So,
yeah, I think so too. I just saw that. Hard R Part 2. You gotta have vision. Y'all niggas do everything that I need to hear from a podcast, man. Y'all probably like my number one black podcast right now.
I can't even front. Like I was listening to that shit and I was like, man, this shit is so black. And then I remember the name.
Yeah, black. It's on purpose.
Yeah. It's called Black on Purpose. I guess it's a goal. I've reached that goal. That shit is black as fuck. Yeah.
Accountability. Shout out Booby and Fonz. I've been listening to That Ain't Black. I'm a little behind. So and then The Breakup. Good shit.
Gotta catch up. Gotta tap in. Shout out Booby.
I've been listening to some Joe Rogan, but nothing that is really stood out so far. Hound Tall still, and Duncan Trussell Family Hour. That's about it as far as podcasts are concerned. Music, Vince Staples self-titled album. Standouts, Tripping or Taking Trips. Sundown Town, and Lil Fade. Take Me Home is really dope too. I think it's a lot of moods on this album. I didn't really know what to expect when I listened to it. He has a lot of range. When I go back and I listen to his music, I do enjoy the type of shit he does creatively with rap. Some of it falls into like what I would call punk. I don't know how you describe it. House type shit. Like he's done West Coast radio song. Like the whole album FM was like his play on trying to do radio singles because he don't make radio music. Law of Averages is a lot. He was talking about the types of music that he's been trying to make. And I watched the interview, a homegrown interview. I don't remember the DJs, but it's homegrown. If you search it on YouTube, homegrown Vince Staples, they basically sit down and talk to him with people who've known him apparently for a while. But it was dope to see him or to hear him talk about how he feels about the music he's making and what angle he's coming from with it. Because it's been a while since he's dropped a project, so it was interesting to hear what he actually came up with. I'm not mad at the album. We'll see how it ages. Still listening to Tyler.
Shout out to Tyler. I still ain't listened to the album yet.
6 Rings.
Waiting for them to drop that non-DJ drama version.
6 Rings. Ricky Blue and Off Key.
Real shit.
Bandana Beats. Been going through Bandana Beats a lot. This thing of ours, Alchemist.
Shout out Alki.
Featuring Earl Sweatshirt, Bodie James, Pink Sifu, and Navy Blue.
Shout out Freddie Gibbs. Sold separately on the way.
Yeah, sold separately on the way. And shout out Freddie Gibbs, man. Made his debut at Canes.
Yeah. Got a movie on the way.
It's funny. I saw him. Like everything that I don't know if it's art imitating other art, but like apparently the movie is about a rapper who is trying to find inspiration for his new album, and he goes off and like starts working on a farm, and then starts to contemplate how seriously he wants to like take his career after that. So it made me think of Crime Pace. Like, I was like, damn, this nigga made a song about having a farm with zebras and shit and still selling dope.
Shit,
and now
doing that shit at the same time.
right now that I think about it, he was like, yeah, we out here, bro. Let's do it. Film this video. It's gonna drop before this anyway. It's not gonna fuck up your video at all, nigga. Just get some zebras in. You a genius.
Right time. Things so far apart.
But that being said, I've been listening to No Worries, Anderson .Paak, and Knowledge.
You gonna hear this shit, nigga.
Yeah. Be glad I wasn't hooked up to the Bluetooth. That shit would have been even worse. I'm almost scared to say this. I went through a stove I'm not. Let me stop hating. I went through a Stove God Cooks phase, like where I just listened to a lot of his shit. He sings so much about cocaine. I've never heard somebody make cocaine sound so harmonious. But I went through Stove God Cook shit. Reasonable
It's like
Drought.
if Drake was signing Griselda.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, all right,
the plug come late night. And it's so catchy. It's like, yo, you gotta sing it, bro. At least during the time when it's on. You ain't gotta sing it in your free time, but when it's on, you gotta sing that shit, nigga. Cause the plug do come late night.
Plug come late night.
Yeah,
If you do it right.
only. That's pretty much it, man. I can't think of anything else I've been listening to or watching. It's been a slow media week just because I've been all over the place, but I've been listening to the same things in succession. A lot of Vince Staples, a lot of Tyler the Creator, Chicano Batman. Shout out Taji. I was listening to Chicano Batman, and he just put out a playlist on his iTunes that's in French, so he's gonna ruin the opportunity for me to pub it. But it's dope. A lot of moody shit as Taji is good for sending me. Yeah, that's it.
No, we did it again. We are Washed Never Washed Up. This is episode 71. Shout out Tony Baselli. Jaguar's great. Shout out 404 creators. You see us, you see him, you know what it is.
Shout out Taji, still out there, man. We'll see you later on this week.
No Limit Exposure.
Like, subscribe, share. Thank you for following all the gods and goddesses, man. I appreciate the time, feedback, all the follows. Yeah.
See you
Stay
next
black.
week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
We out.